Now, if you guys have been following things I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, you'll know that there's probably something happening next week. The reports have been coming in and rumors have been swirling around suggesting that Nintendo is going to have 2 directs. They already had one for the museum and another one next week because they shifted everything forward, which means we could be seeing the Switch 2 presentation very soon. Now, this all comes from PH Brazil on Famine Boards. I'm not going to discuss everything in detail, but yes, he's pretty much doubled down and said something's happening in the month of August. One other presentation before we even move into September, which is going to have an indie world and probably see something with Switch 2 around that time as well. But I just wanted to talk about this. I'm not going through all the details. You guys can watch the video I tagged in the link in the description if you want to have information about what's supposed to be happening. But yes, apparently there is some type of direct happening next week. And I've seen a lot of comments from that video of people trying to figure out what in the world would Nintendo need to have a Nintendo Direct for right now. And I couldn't agree more. It feels very strange and it feels very weird. As I do think something is happening, I don't think it's what people are thinking of. People, I think, are thinking of some type of big general Nintendo Direct, and I don't think that's the case. There's literally not enough content for them to show, unless still Switch 2 is somehow very far out and Nintendo still somehow has more games to reveal for the beginning of next year, which is not going to happen. Let me just put that out there. I think we are absolutely done with new game announcements. I think it's definitely time to move on to Switch 2 information, which is great. But I feel like this Direct is going to give us the information that we need to know. This Direct, literally, this time next week, we will know if Switch 2 is near or not. Based on these rumors alone, I think next week is one of the most important weeks of this entire year because it's going to kind of set everything out for us. It's going to give us an idea as to what is happening with Nintendo. If Nintendo comes out and has some type of huge general Nintendo Direct, then I think it might be time to worry. You know, if they have a 40-minute presentation lined up, then yeah, Switch 2 might not be announced this year. Like, that would be a very bad situation, honestly. So if Nintendo does come out and announces something like a mini Direct or a partner Direct, or really, honestly, if any Direct happens next week, it would be pretty out of the norm. Nintendo never has a Direct at August, let alone the end of the month, like the last week of August. It would show that Nintendo clearly is changing something in their schedule and clearly give us an indicator that something's happening very soon. In fact, I would expect something probably in the month of September, because why else would Nintendo want to push everything forward like that? Why not still just have your Direct in September? That tells me something's being pushed up for that month instead, which makes me extremely excited. So what is this Direct going to be that we're having next week? Well, I am fully expecting it to be a partner showcase. You know, Nintendo has to get out their third-party information and stuff, and even if they're not going to have a general Direct, they have to get out the third-party stuff, and that's pretty much what they want to do. This is something that I've said reminds me a lot of the beginning of this year. Do you remember at the beginning of this year where all the rumors were coming in that the February Direct this time was going to be a partner showcase, and we were like, please no, but then didn't realize it was a pretty big thing because it was showing that if Nintendo had a partner showcase in February, that they had something bigger to reveal later on, and that's what the rumors were saying, that the next month in March we would get the reveal of Switch 2. Until right at the end of February, all the reports started swarming in that Switch 2 had been internally delayed, and that pushed everything back. So I'm wondering if Nintendo just took everything from the beginning of this year and shifted it for the end of this year. And if that's the case, this could be the same kind of strategy lineup that we're looking at right now, with a big partner Direct here at the end of August, and then followed up by a Switch 2 presentation of some sorts or Switch 2 reveal of some sort for next month in September. And honestly, I feel like this is the best option from Nintendo. You know why? Let me tell you why. A lot of people think it's going to ruin the holiday season. I don't think that's the case. You come out, you reveal the console, and you reveal maybe 1 or 2 games or sneak peeks at 1 or 2 games that could be coming to that console. You do that in September, and then you just let the rest of the games ride out the rest of the year, because there's nothing to do but wait for that new console. That gives people time to play the games coming out this year. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, and Mario & Luigi Brothership, not to mention Donkey Kong Country Returns HD coming out in January of next year. I don't think this ruins that lineup, at least just gives us some information to look forward to. It gives us something to talk about, it gives us something to speculate, it gives us the next big game maybe to look forward to as well. But something else I thought about was something that could be insane. And I thought, maybe, just maybe, because all we know is there's going to be some type of extra presentation next week. We don't know what type of Direct. We don't even know if it's going to 100% be a Direct. But what if next week is when we see Switch 2. Listen, I know that's crazy, and I know that doesn't necessarily sound right, but hear me out. Wouldn't it be interesting if Nintendo wanted to still have a big direct in September, but they want to show off some new games for the new console, and they can't do that until they announce the new console? You know how every direct that's announced, they're like in the little subtext, they'll say, hey, there will not be any mention of Switch 2 during this presentation. Well, they probably want to be done with that, because if they're going to have a general direct, they want to talk about stuff coming to that next console. So what if somehow they just had a little Switch 2 announcement next week? I know, once again, it's crazy, it's out of the norm, but that's the point. We normally don't have a Nintendo Direct at the end of August, so what if this is something else entirely? What if Nintendo is getting us prepared for the console ahead of time, saying us, hey, here's the Switch 2, this is what it's going to look like, this is what it's going to do. Stay tuned for September when we have a general Nintendo Direct where we will show some of the games coming to that console. Because this isn't a huge brand new console. Remember, Nintendo stated this is the next probably evolution of the Nintendo Switch, which is inevitably going to be the Switch 2 in some capacity. So Nintendo doesn't necessarily need to have a blown out presentation full with games. They could simply just show us the console in its own little direct or its own little trailer, and then show off the games in an upcoming Nintendo Direct. And maybe that's what Nintendo's plans are. It's hard to say, I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, regardless of what happens, next week is pretty big. If nothing happens, it's probably going to be a normal year. We're probably going to have a September Nintendo Direct. There probably won't be anything announced until either the very, very, very end of this year or the beginning of next year. But if something does kick off next week, I think it's credence for something big happening very soon. I think it's really going to show that Nintendo is finally ready to show this thing, because if they're bumping up a partner direct or even a mini direct or some type of direct early, it shows Nintendo's trying to get it out of the way for a certain reason. And especially with Gamescom being this week and it ending next week, it does fit the bill and make sense. So we're just going to have to wait and see. A lot of people think it could be a Zelda Echoes of Wisdom Direct. I'm going to say right now, no possible way. We just got a 5-minute info drop on Twitter. We got multiple trailers, and the game's even playable right now at Gamescom through a demo station. So I don't really understand why they would want to have a whole direct dedicated to a top-down 2D Zelda game where you play as Zelda. I like, there's nothing else that they really need to show, and I feel like they're going to spoil the game if they do that, because we've seen everything. The only thing that we haven't really seen is dungeons and like some boss battles. I don't want to see that. You know, save that for me when I play the game. So I'm really hoping they don't do that. They probably won't, and I know they won't have any type of direct for Mario Party. I know they won't have a direct for Mario and Luigi, at least not now. It's way too soon. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it has to be a partner or a mini in my head. I don't see what else it could be. But I'm very interested, and I'm curious, and as we go throughout the weekend, this could be the calm before the storm, and this could be the big week that we've been waiting for. But let me know in the comments down below, do you believe any of this? Do you think anything's going to happen next week? Do you think next week is going to be a big telling for Nintendo before we move into the month of September? Let me know your opinions down below, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo all the time, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.